Go Pizza presents SCP.
Check this.
The Steve Dangle Podcast with your hosts, Steve Dangle and Adam Wilde.
Well, it's a good thing that Steve threw out his back yesterday because we would have missed the news du jour.
What's that?
The news du jour is that
news
Steve,
of the day?
Steve threw out his back, but also Kyle Dubas is the new general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Kylie Dubman.
Aha.
It's so weird that the thing they said would happen 3 years ago, in 3 years, has happened.
It's crazy.
3 years later.
Crazy how last episode when we mentioned that, and actually, for the last month, I think leading into this, we've said, they already told us this.
Yeah, this isn't weird. You know this, right?
This is completely expected. If it was Mark Hunter, we'd be like, wow, crazy. Wonder what could happen.
And, Shanahan today, talked about Hunter being qualified, and I'm like, yeah. And he talked about Hunter wanting the job, and I'm like, yeah. But the thing they said would happen has happened.
Yeah.
And if the Leafs keep Hunter, great. And if they don't, well, that's a shame.
Well, it was Ian Tulloch at Regressian on Twitter had a really, really good. I'm just going to pull it up here. He had a really interesting kind of take on Mark Hunter and the whole. Was it him? Yeah, I'm looking for it. Basically,
he's had a great run.
He's had a great year. If the Athletic hasn't hired him full time yet, I'm shocked.
He's with them.
But basically, okay, maybe it wasn't him. I saw a tweet come up. Forgive me for whoever this comes. It might be Fuleman, actually. Another guy who I'm blown away by. He basically said, he's like, I'm not sold on the idea that if Mark Hunter goes, it's the end of the world.
No.
Because, they call him this super scout, but we've got on the team 3 people in the first round that he drafted. And then you've got Travis Dermott. And outside of that, nobody's played an NHL game. And they're saying, listen, it's not, more will come. But at this point, it's not necessarily like, the Nylander draft year.
This feels weird.
The Nylander draft year was just unbelievable, right? It was a great draft year. You have your 7th round pick playing in the NHL. That's amazing.
Yeah, was that Janssen?
Luck more than anything, though.
What's that?
That's luck more than anything.
It is a little bit more, yeah. Lucky, like asthma. Thank you, asthma. But quite frankly, we haven't quite seen whether or not Mark Hunter is the super scout that he's talking about. Well, he did stick his neck out for Marner. We get that. But I have a hard time believing that Mark Hunter doesn't want to see this through. I'm not saying I'm a fan of what he's done, but I don't think that. I really don't believe he's just going to walk away right now.
If he leaves the Leafs...
Just one thing. Janssen wasn't the Nylander draft. That was the year before. That was 2013.
Oh. Was it Engvall in 2014?
Engvall was 2014.
Okay, and he might make it.
Still.
He's already made it in my heart.
Steve has put him on the Leafs already.
Yeah. If Hunter leaves the Leafs for anything other than an NHL GM job, it's confusing to me, basically. Or... like it's an AGM job somewhere where there's obviously he's going to be the successor to someone. Whereas with Dubas, he's probably not going to be the successor. Dubas just got there. How bad could he screw it up in a year? Maybe shouldn't have asked that question. But no, I think the story shouldn't be who didn't get the job. It should be who did. Mm-hmm. And it's Kyle Dubas, and it's a guy who's 31 or 32.
32.
He's 32, so I was totally wrong in the video. Good. But early 30s. And he might bring a fresh approach to the game, and that's great. And I think what the Leafs sort of cleared up today during the press conference, Shanahan in particular, actually Kyle too, was the role Lamoriello played wasn't to teach Kyle Dubas hockey. Mm-hmm. It was to teach him how to be the boss. And what I kind of said today was you ever been in a room with, you're in your teens or 20s or whatever, and you're trying to get your point across to people in their 40s, 50s, and 60s? It's hard.
It is.
It's hard to get authority at that age. Especially over people who are older than you. There's guys in the Leafs that are older than him. Patrick Marleau's 5, 6 years older than them. Ron Hainsey. Those are big guys in your team, man. And you're going to have all these weird discussions. So I don't think... I'm sure he learned a lot about hockey from Lou, but Lou didn't need to teach him hockey. He maybe had to teach him how to be in charge.
And maybe how to deal
thing.
with some agents and that sort of thing too.
Yeah, dealing with agents and whatever. You learn a little bit in the OHL, but I don't know. It's still not the full blow, and it's only 3 years worth, right?
He was on Tim and Sid this afternoon, and this was one of the comments that I really enjoyed. Jesse,
What did he say on your show?
the comment,
My show. Don't do
What did
that.
he say on Jesse's show?
the comment on defense, where he said, Sid came out and asked him. He's like, okay, I'm just straight up gonna ask. What are you gonna do? Like, what? It's clearly an issue. What are you gonna do?
Yeah. Well, what are you gonna do on defense?
Yeah, and that's not bad.
It's not good. I haven't practiced it at all.
You gotta work on it. Steve, by the way, was throwing around an Australian accent that sounds pretty accurate before the show, but he's not ready to bring it live yet.
No, yeah. Now that you've said it, I'm like, no.
I'm nervous. No, he's working on it. This is what Steve does at home. He walks around, talks to the dog in Australian accent, so that way he can get it perfected.
But that's
and
what
then
I
bring it to the show.
expect from Steve. If he was doing something different, I'd be like, why aren't you
get
at
back to
home?
work, Steve?
Exactly.
Well, no, and I'll be goofing around with SL in the house, and then we'll go to her parents for dinner, and she's like, "Do that thing," and I'm like, "No, I can't do it."
Well, especially when it's out of context, you're like, no.
And there's people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
People who are
no, there's
hearing.
people watching. But what do you do it in front of me? No, you're like my wife.
You're not people.
No, yeah, you don't count.
You're just like the other part of me,
You're
right?
my roommate.
So the defense.
The defense.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, so the defense was this, and basically, I'm paraphrasing here, but he basically said a lot of the answers are coming from within.
And when he said that, I thought of you because that's what you've been preaching this whole time.
Well, and what I don't understand is how many people were like, "Oh no, cheap solutions, darn it! Oh, that's awful." Meanwhile, so many people were like, "Just replace Polak with Justin Hall." And I mean, I don't know if that's what he's going to do. But that's an awful lot. What that sounds like.
Justin Hall, I think, is going to be an NHL next year.
Maybe.
I think he is.
I don't think that would be the worst thing. I'm excited to see. I just want to see Dubas try some things, and he was talking about market inefficiencies and whatnot. And what I talked about in my video today is a team that's done a really good job of exploiting the inefficiency in the college system and the lack of college players is the Pittsburgh Penguins. They drafted Jake Ensel in the 3rd round. He's been great. Brian Rust in the 3rd round. He's been great. Connor Sheary was a signing. And by the way, their starting goalie who won 2 cups before his sophomore season even began, Matt Murray, developed with the Sioux Greyhounds, Kyle Dubas' Sioux Greyhounds. So
Interesting.
that's very exciting. So I'm excited to see, if they're able to find if you've paid close attention to what the Marlies have done since Dubas has taken charge, he's taken a lot of pride in getting guys from college, giving them tryouts, from junior, giving them tryouts, but also getting guys from the ECHL, signing them to an AHL deal, calling them up, being like, hey, check it out. They're actually pretty good. And a few of them have actually earned NHL deals. One of them was Justin Hall. And a couple years ago, and I said it over and over again on this podcast, I got to interview Kyle Dubas and Sheldon Keefe. And I said, who's the most underrated defenseman? Who's the most underrated forward? And both of them had the exact same answer for both. They said Justin Hall, who was on an AHL deal at the time, and they said Zach Hyman, who I wouldn't have even put in my top 10 for prospects because I just knew nothing about him. Now Zach Hyman's playing on the first line, and I'm surprised he wasn't named GM today because of all the roles they give him. And Justin Hall, we're talking about him potentially being on the team next year.
Is that from your video?
It was from my
Okay.
video.
Nah, it's a video line. Video line.
That was too good.
Way to just completely blow up my spot.
I'm sorry.
Jesse. No, but Trevor Moore, I think, could be another guy. He was signed out of college. I think it was an AHL only deal.
And he's
now
a
you
centerman, right?
Winger.
Where? Well,
But now you got more and more. It's picking up in the blogosphere. Kind of Hardev and a few people are kind of riding that train. They want Trevor Moore to be Leafs maybe 4th line left winger next year. We'll see.
Well, I that would be great. I would love for them to find an internal candidate for 4th line center as well.
Yeah, that one's going to be difficult, and
Maybe you got to make a trade there. Maybe that's where you make your trade.
you might, and I mean, you got parts for a trade. You got lots of wingers. You got the world of wingers, and that was what I wrote about in my John Tavares article the other day and why, pros and cons for the Leafs getting him, which, by the way, the day the Jets and Preds play Game 7, #1 article on the website. Just saying. Just saying. Over 100,000 people thought that was interesting on that day. But in that article, I said...
You can't read an article about the game that's going to happen. You just go watch the game.
Okay,
it's not the same thing.
There was anything else then? There was nothing else.
Nothing else.
Nothing else. Nothing else beat it. I was #1 is what I'm trying to say. I'm a winner.
On a day when there was slow news.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Pick your spots. I'm going to throw my back out again if I yell this out. No, but I was talking about the Leafs would be able to spend, I think it'd be like $26 million or something like that if they, sign Matthews' extension, sign Tavares, sign Kadri, or they have Kadri locked up. Sorry?
What about Willie?
Well, Willie, yeah, you'll be able to spend a lot of money on a couple guys, Willie and Marner. Kapanen you look at, Johnson you look at, Brown is on an affordable deal, Hyman's on an affordable deal, but then you should be able to fill out the rest of your wing spots with like entry-level deals and cheap deals, and that'll allow you to spend money on those centers, right? So the Leafs have this depth at center, and we keep talking about how they should use it, and they haven't really done it yet. They've traded some like spare parts, Sosh for a 4th, woo.
Mm-hmm.
But now's maybe the opportunity. I don't think you get the keys and do nothing with it. Like, I know he's been here a while. He's not a new guy, but I think Justin Bourne said it best. Like, you don't spend 3 years.
4.
And 4 years, whatever. Yeah, you're right. It was 4. You don't spend 4 years and never once think, here's how I would do it if I was in charge.
Yeah, no, you think about it every day. Every day.
Pretty much. And there was a quote from a conference. Who tweeted it out? I think it was Regressian. Flintor had a couple good quotes too, but it was basically Dubas a couple of years ago talking about like how he was basically talking about bias and the idea of a safe player being awful. And he was talking about like big defensemen who just put it off the glass and out, and how it's not actually good because they're only playing defense all the time. And I was like, well, I guess Polak's not getting re-signed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm interested to see what this means for hockey. And if you're on the outside and you don't objectively hate the Leafs, I don't understand why you wouldn't be cheering for this guy's success, because it could mean your team goes in a similar direction, and it could mean a lot more fun. A
little more creativity would be nice,
right? A little more creativity.
We also don't know what he's going to do.
No.
We can't assume that it's going to be what we think it's going to be.
Well,
he might go in a different route that we didn't expect, and it's not this fun, creative, new thing that's
He just keeps it the same. He doesn't even re-sign people. He doesn't even fill them. They roll 3 lines.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sorry, we never re-signed anybody, so now...
9 pairings, but a bunch of the pairings only have one guy. And they just play in a diamond all the time. They bring back the Rover.
They purposely play shorthanded all the time.
Yeah.
They drop a goalie. They trade Freddie, and they play with no goalie and six forwards the entire time.
2 goalies.
That's a good strategy.
When they're behind.
Right.
They play with 2
to protect
goalies.
the comeback.
And they pull the goalie when they're ahead. Hit them where they least expect it.
One thing Dubas said today that did trouble me is...
Uh-oh.
On Tim and Sid, they asked him if he's the only one... if he's going to be the only GM to ever know what Fortnite is. And his response was, I don't know what Fortnite is. I've only heard of it because all the guys on the team are always playing it.
So then he's heard of it, so he knows.
But he doesn't know any of the ins and outs. He's never played it. So I'm a little... How do we feel about a GM who doesn't know what Fortnite is?
Players have a little bit of free time. I don't feel like executives do.
I'm cool with him not having the time to play Fortnite. I also feel like there were a couple things in the press conference I noticed that were, him, referring to the little guy, and I don't know what Fortnite is. And I think it was a couple tips of the cap to like the older crowd who wasn't as open to him. And I think that was just because how would it look if the guy who they're already talking about like he drinks out of a sippy cup is like, I love Fortnite. And then he gets up and he starts doing the dance. Like, how would that look? No, he went up there and
he was very responsible.
He had his job interview fingers, the interlock fingers that you do.
He talks with his hands a lot.
He does.
He actually had the Leafs pin on his jacket too, which I was like, wow, how very political of him, because it's like every I don't even think you see it with Canadian politicians, but with American ones, you see an American flag on everything they wear, as if
he's the Leafs.
Just
GM,
in case you forgot, I represent America,
and he represents the Leafs.
That's right. That's right.
That's him showing it. No,
and a blue suit and everything.
Oh, you bet, that he saved symbolic. For just such an occasion. And no, I'm glad he doesn't have enough time to play Fortnite. I'm glad he's that focused on the Leafs. Right. I would like to know what he does to relax. Does he play something else? Does he play Chel? Does he also get mad?
He's got like a young kid too. Like that. Yeah. There's a lot of a lot of work.
Dude, that guy runs the Leafs and has a toddler. Like that's not good.
The amount of talk about his age is kind of surprising. Like, age seems to be one of the last things that you could sort of be discriminatory about, and it's okay. Like it's like you know what I mean?
You mean, yeah.
Like, because it really, if you're looking at qualifications, he's got them all. The only thing he doesn't have is tenure because of his age. But I mean, the fact is, he's been working in the OHL, like in major junior, and then obviously professional hockey since he was 11 years old. And yes, he started out as a stick boy, but he's a scout at 17. He's a GM at 25. He's an assistant GM in the NHL at 28, and now at 32, he's the Leafs head general manager. It's unbelievable. Like some of the conversations that went on today are, and it just mostly on the media side, about just the age thing is kind of unbelievable. You just sit there and go, okay, so he is young, and yes, he is unproven. Beyond that, why does that make it bad?
I guess, you know what I think he's had over the last 4 years? A lack of shoulder rubbing. He's had a little bit of a lack of shoulder rubbing. Like, I'm trying to remember all the interviews he's really given that I've ever really seen. Like, his media availability was like the event of the season a few years ago during the Marlies playoff run. I tried to talk to him did I talk about this last episode? When I tried to, oh no, it was on my Instagram Live. So the Marlies signed Tyler Wong, who, I don't know, played on like the Medicine Hat Tigers or something, and it was like to a amateur tryout deal. And, I asked their media guy, I'm like, is Kyle here? Can I talk to him about it? And he's like, okay, I'll go and ask him. He goes into another room and he asks him privately. I don't even get to see it. Kyle comes out and he like barely makes eye contact. Like I've talked to this guy on and off for like half a decade at least. And he basically just said what the media release said. And I'm like, you got anything else? Like, tell me about this player. Like, I'm trying to cover the Marlies here, find out some interesting things about Tyler Wong. And he's like, that's it. Then you got Damian Cox getting like all upset that he can't talk to him during the intermission of a playoff game. And you got like, how many people has he really, he hasn't built a relationship, right? And the Leafs have been so ironclad for a long time. It was refreshing to hear him talk today. I forgot like what a good quote he can be. Maybe he can let his hair down a little bit. But he's just been largely an unknown. And basically all these writers and all these people who cover the team extensively, all they've had is their own assumptions for like 4 years. Their own assumptions and rumors, basically. And I don't know, all you really have to talk about from that point on, you can't go back to the analytics thing because that's been kind of poo-pooed and whatever. So you just go, hey, isn't it weird that the richest team in hockey is a 32-year-old GM? It is kind of strange.
Yep, sure.
Except it's not because they said it was going to happen, but it's unusual.
I wondered if you'd use the same arguments that they used him being young, if you used them against an older person, how that would be received.
They did. With
did they?
Lou Lamoriello. Well, to an extent. I remember being like, okay.
Because he was, what, 72?
Yeah, it was a 3-year contract for a 72-year-old.
There was definitely some of that.
That's unusual.
Eye test. More like get your eyes checked, am I right?
Oh, you see. Oh, this guy.
what was it, last week when he was promoted, I guess, or moved to a different position, there was still the thing about, he's old now. He's got to go and do this other thing and ride his boat and that sort of thing.
He was old before.
But he was old before, but he wants to still work, apparently, which is the report from Arthur
John
Staple
Shannon.
in the Athletic. About
and
him
he's an Islanders guy.
Yeah,
Arthur
about him
Staples,
wanting to go to the Islanders.
Well, John Shannon actually just tweeted out a couple minutes ago, can confirm New York Islanders and Lou Lamoriello are now talking about a position within that organization.
Oh,
so
boy.
he's confirming the story from Arthur Staple yesterday afternoon.
Mm-hmm. How do you play that if you're the Leafs? Because you got to want John Tavares in the worst way. And if you let Lou Lamoriello go to the Islanders, it's probably a better chance they keep him, no?
Well, if I'm the Leafs, I don't let them do it. I don't let them do it till after July 1st. Can't they hold him?
Interesting. I don't know.
You
I don't
don't
know
think
what his
that they-
I don't know
contract
what his
says.
Yeah, exactly.
They must be able to hold him.
He could also have now in his contract where it's like, hey, if I don't want to do this, I can go do another job. Because
Gotta-
he's Lou.
And they'll be like,
I
oh,
would think.
Gotta think.
They probably get-
And if he doesn't, who cares? Like, he'll do it anyway.
Yeah.
I'll shiv you in the neck. Sparta. And just go to the island.
I would want Lou Lamoriello around just for the re-signing of Nylander and what they're going to do in free agency.
But does he want to be around?
Right. Good question.
So that was another thing. That was another big deal.
Although, I mean, really, sometimes it doesn't matter. Sometimes you're held to a contract against your will, right?
Sometimes.
You know.
But one thing I saw people talking about was, well, Shanahan is going to be there for the Matthews extension and the Marner extension and the Nylander extension. And part of me was like, just let the guy do his job. Don't meddle too much. And then I was like, well, maybe the president of the Leafs should be involved in a decision that could add up to like $250,000. What's Matthews going to get? At least 80.
Yeah.
What's Nylander going to get?
What did Pasternak get?
Around 50?
Yeah.
Something like that. And then what's Marner going to get? Probably around the same. So, close to $200 million. So, maybe the president of the team should be involved.
He's going to be, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, when we're talking about, okay, I want to trade this third line right winger for whatever, bottom pairing defenseman. Yeah, okay, leave the GM alone. Let him do his
Steve, just
job.
come out and say it. When he decides to not re-sign Leo Komarov,
There you go.
Yeah, and trade Matt
Shanahan
Martin.
doesn't have to be involved because everybody's like, okay.
And if there was ever a summer to give a new guy the keys, it's this one.
It is a pivotal summer.
They're going to go in a different direction. They have to. They're losing a bunch of guys. They have a bunch of guys they should lose because they're not doing anything with them. They got some young guys who they can bring in, some young guys they already have who they should give bigger positions to. It's going to be a very interesting summer. A lot of big free agents too, big guys available.
Based on the roster as it stands, and let's say we go into next summer and they don't make we go through the summer, they don't make a huge splash in free agency. They go in, they'll have some cap room, but they bring in, I don't know, a second pairing right-handed D, and then they, the rest of it's going to come up within the system, and they've signed maybe somebody, maybe not, but I think the way we have to look at next year's team, and this changes if they get John Tavares, but I think every team's fortunes change if they get John Tavares.
If we get one of the top 10 centers in the league.
In the world.
If the Coyotes get John Tavares,
their
season
fortunes
is turned
change.
around.
But I think we got to look at the Leafs a little bit differently next year, because I think what the narrative is going to be, okay, well, they've been growing for 3 years, and now it's time to take that next step. And the fact is, it's a build. And so I don't know. Yes, you can expect Matthews, Nylander, Marner to be better. I think they need to be better than they were last year. I think Marner can't have 3 months of terrible and then 4 months of amazing. Can't. Yeah. Matthews has got to be, if he's healthy, and I think he will be. He's got to be.
That's it. Matthews has got to be healthy.
He's got to be healthy.
And
Yeah,
once
and
he's healthy, he'll be Matt.
Because he had slumps in his rookie year. He didn't really have a slump when he was playing.
No, you're
It
right.
was just when he was injured.
And Nylander's got to be. He's got to be a little more dominant. He's got to be a little bit more of a scary guy to play against. And he has the skills to be it. He's got to figure out how to be scary all the time, how to just grab people's attention. Now, the thing that changes, though, is the veteran presence that is probably not going to be there in the same way, right? The Leafs will go back to being one of the youngest teams in the NHL.
I think it's just going to be different. JVR, Bozak, Komarov. I didn't really think of those guys as veterans as much as I thought of them as guys who have been around a
Especially
long time.
in leadership ways.
Komarov was a locker room leader
Bosey's got an A.
Bozak had an A and seemed well liked, but like you didn't hear too much about his leadership, and like JVR just kind of, I didn't hear anything.
Scored goals,
scored a ton of goals.
Yeah,
can't take that away from him. They're going to have to find a way to replace that. But I mean,
which I think they can do by committee. By the way, if they roll 4 lines like they can,
it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. It's going to be very tough for Kyle Dubas in his first year as GM. First year as GM. Losing a bunch of guys. It's going to be a younger team. You got to put your stamp on it. And there is now a distinct hunger for at least the second round. The Leafs can't get knocked. Well, they can't miss the playoffs. That's for damn sure. And they can't get knocked out in the first round again without people being terrifically disappointed. I think most people understood this one, but it stung. Losing in the first round again next year, no matter the circumstance, I think is going to be unacceptable for a lot of people.
Right, and I think, remember that I think in a lot of people's cases, they were mad about how the third period of Game 7 went.
Literally one period of hockey.
But that's what decided it. It came down to one period. Yep. And again, it's a learning experience. But I do think we have to look at the Leafs much differently next year than we did this year. And I also think they're going to play a different style. I don't see this slow dump and chase stuff anymore. I think they're going to go back to the heavy forechecks that they were doing the first year that we saw, Matthews, Nylander, Marner on the ice, because they were a lot scarier then. And I think they've got the speed. They're going to be even faster with Andreas Johnsson and Kasperi Kapanen, and I think Grundstrom's going to come into this lineup. I think they're going to be a quicker team. You know
who we didn't talk about as an internal candidate is Connor Carrick. Because he's not on the Marlies, but
we keep because for some reason they just don't want to put him in a role, or Mike Babcock doesn't. So here's my question, and maybe this is a question we got to have Justin Bourne on one of these days.
Yeah,
but he mentioned in his piece with The Athletic that good luck changing Mike Babcock's mind on anything unless you got hours of video to back it up, which I kind of like. He needs proof.
Well, and then they showed a video. Whose Twitter was this from? Was it Flinter? It was Flinter. It was from like one of the Sloan Analytics conferences from a couple of years ago. And Babcock was talking about Dubas kind of like right when he came on board with the Leafs. And he talked about Dubas being 20 years younger than him, but 20 years smarter. He's 2 decades smarter because, the sport keeps evolving, technology keeps evolving, everything keeps evolving. So Dubas is on the cutting edge, right? So I think Babcock will be open to some things. He doesn't really have much of a choice. Dubas is his boss, right? I mean, he's definitely got a choice. He's Mike Babcock, but
I think that's a ridiculous statement.
Yeah, but
what are you going to do, Mike?
What he has said, though,
be Mike Babcock.
Listen to someone besides yourself.
But he has said, though, that he thinks he realizes that he doesn't know everything. Like, forget Dubas in the equation. He understands that he doesn't know everything.
Yeah, that's everyone.
Yeah. I kind of equated that in the video today to, like, Matthews, Laine, McDavid. Like, they have the speed, the skill, the smarts, whatever. And that is a big reason why they succeed in this game. But another reason is, like, this isn't new hockey to them. This isn't a new style of hockey to them. This is just what they grew up playing. The post-2004 rules, post-2013 rules, whatever. Similar could be said about Dubas. You know what I mean? He's not going into this with a 25, 30-year-old mindset. Or, a mindset that he came into the business with 2 or 3 decades ago.
Dubas also isn't the head coach, though. He's just going to provide Babcock with the tools, and then Babcock's free to go.
But they do come together on how they're going to play it, right? They do talk about, like, they got to decide what kind of team they're going to be, and that's why I think it's going to change.
The strategy and everything, that's Mike Babcock. Dubas can't be telling Babcock how to formulate a strategy for a game.
Also,
I think he's definitely part of that. I don't think people.
He's part of that, yeah,
for sure. I think.
I don't know about that. You're telling a head coach.
I don't think he's telling him what to do, but
how to play his players.
They're going back and forth every day.
The role of a general manager is to here are the players, and then you go play them because you're the head coach. I think that's the role in any sport. You don't interfere with the mindset of the head coach because his job is to coach. And I don't think Mike Babcock, I assume Kyle Dubas is telling him the strategy and how they want to act with the players and the guys they got to get. But if Dubas is in there telling Babcock, hey, we want to play a faster game, Sure, but once he says that, it's go execute Mike Babcock.
Yeah,
But
I
doesn't
agree.
Babcock have to justify it to him? Like, should
Yeah, and I think Babcock's going to find a way to justify whatever he wants to justify.
Yeah. Well, and though what you said, if anyone is going to have hours and hours of video to back it up, it's going to be the guy who doesn't play Fortnite. It's going to be the guy who doesn't have time to play Fortnite. It's going to be Kyle Dubas.
Totally.
He's super prepared. I mean, apparently all he does is spend time in front of a screen and a press sheet and what do you think he does with all this time? His job. I mean, I'm sure if he wants to convince anyone of anything, he knows he has to work harder to get his opinion taken seriously. I expect him to be prepared for this. I don't think he's going to go in like,
I think
shaky in the knees.
He's probably ready to go. He's probably ready.
Yeah.
Like I would know what I would do tomorrow. Like,
Imagine how jacked you would be if you were named the Leafs GM tomorrow. Like, yeah, this guy's pumped. He's ready to go.
Are we
Going to talk about the Jets? No.
No, yeah, we are going to talk about the Jets.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah.
we're going to get right to that. I have one more question though. With Lou potentially leaving,
Yep.
which I'm still not sold on. I still don't see that.
I wish he'd stayed or would stay.
I hope he stays. I hope it somehow doesn't work. I hope Garth Snow screws this up like he screwed up the Islanders for the last 12 years.
Wow.
Yeah, there, I said it.
Wow. Do they have as many series wins as the Minnesota Wild?
That's a good. That's a good question.
No, they made the conference final that one time.
By the way, can you turn down the heat in here? Just put it to the minus thing. Thank you. It's very hot.
I thought that was just my sweater.
With Lou leaving, do
Jeez.
you basically write off John Tavares coming?
No, but I mean, I would count Lou going to the Islanders as pulling out all the stops to, holy shit, we got to keep our franchise center.
Yeah. Okay.
That's definitely how I look at it.
So the Jets are through the conference finals. By the way, the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Washington Capitals are playing as we speak. So there's not much we can say.
Well,
except
who's
for,
winning right now? Because that's who's going to lose.
It's a good question. I think it took the Lightning 9 minutes. I saw on Twitter it took them 9 minutes to get their first shot, which is surprising.
What? Weird.
Washington's
surprising.
up 1-0.
I mean, that's not surprising given the stat Adam just said. Wow.
Yeah. Interesting. Everybody talking about this series before we got into it was, it was Lightning in 5. They'll handle the Caps no problem. I think the Caps are deceptively good. I really do.
Who are these ridiculous people?
Who think that what?
It was Dom
that
Decision
is-
I saw said Lightning in 5 and Winnipeg in 5.
Man, that's a bold one. Winnipeg in 5? I mean,
I do think... I
got
think Winnipeg,
stats, but-
I mean, here's me downplaying Vegas again. I think Winnipeg is further ahead of Vegas than Tampa is of Washington.
I would have said that of 30 NHL teams.
Yeah.
Except for 29, not the Coyotes. And maybe not the Sabres either.
Game 7 was
Canucks.
scary, though.
I would have put them on par with the Canucks this
On
year.
par.
Yeah.
On par.
Going in? For sure.
No, we
I'd have been
even
like
said-
James Neal and who?
I think we even said, Vegas might finish 5th last because, I don't know, some teams just get a slew of injuries and there's bad luck and puck bounces and, I'm sure the adrenaline will go right to their legs and they'll win maybe 30 games. Holy crap.
Okay.
They won the Pacific.
So
Unbelievable.
Vegas is in the Western Conference Finals. Mm-hmm. Do you believe in them yet?
I believe in them.
I have.
What?
Yeah.
They're a good team now.
I'm convinced.
yeah.
Okay.
I still don't get it.
There's lots of people who are like, on paper, this is still a terrible team.
I still don't get it.
Yeah.
But no, for sure. They're
Okay.
they're there and it's not an accident. And there's lots of numbers to suggest it's not an accident.
Okay.
And I watch them and I go, holy shit, they're so good. And it's not an accident, man.
All right. It's not an accident.
But Winnipeg is stupid
Super good.
good.
And deep.
Dude, the back half of Game 7 yesterday against Nashville was sad. The Preds didn't have a chance. They didn't have a chance.
It was really that first period, those 2 goals Pekka Rinne let in. That was the game.
Well,
That's an interesting situation.
when they came out in the third period, they had was it a 2-man advantage? It might have just been there's regular shorthanded, but Winnipeg was shorthanded to start the third, and you're like, okay, if Nashville gets one here, it's a completely different game. But then Nashville just couldn't do anything.
Nope.
And it was very impressive
Passed
everything the
it
Jets did.
way too much. I thought I was watching the Leafs there for a second because one thing the Leafs do a really bad job of when they're struggling is they spend a lot of time in the offensive zone. They take a bunch of shots. None of them hit the net. And the Preds, there was a time, I think it was back half of the second period, where I watched them. They had the puck the majority of the time, and I look up at the shot clock, hadn't changed in 5 minutes because they hadn't hit the net. They had
the Leafs are
maybe a
terrible
chance
about hitting the net, honestly. Oh, terrible.
They had a couple chances that like whiffed a little bit. They were passing it way too much, especially on the power play.
Going into the third period with the lead this year so far, the Jets have blown 2 games.
Overall.
The
entire season.
The entire season.
Crazy.
The Leafs should take note. I think there were 20 games.
Are we going to talk about Pekka Rinne?
Yeah, well, that's what I wanted to get to next. Okay. So he lets in those 2 early.
He's having dinner with Dwane Casey right now.
That's basically
his
game.
last game ever for Nashville.
You think so?
Like, I don't believe he comes back.
So he's got $7 million.
How do you come back from getting yanked after 2 goals in game 7?
He's gonna go to Las Vegas in June and win the Vezina.
No!
And then July 5th, he's gonna be somewhere else.
Same day. The Golden Knights add Rinne, Carlson, Tavares.
Oh my God! Well, no. Rinne's got another year left on his deal.
Sorry,
he's got a year left.
Yeah, but Saros is a starting goaltender now.
For sure, 100%. And so he hit $7 million for Pekka Rinne for 1 more year, and he's gonna win the Vezina. So he's got some value on the trade market. Are you not ringing Edmonton's doorbell right now?
Oh my God,
that's a good point,
man.
Yeah.
Also, by the way, for everyone who's like, why did they submit the vote so early? That's why. It's a regular season award. Can you imagine putting Rinne's name even on the ballot after that? Because of 1 game.
Could you get Peter Chiarelli to give you the 10th overall pick that he's shopping? For retain all the salary you can on Rinne to make it and then you give them 35-year-old Pekka Rinne.
Adam Bartholomew Wild.
I would call Chiarelli right now and be like, hey, what do you think?
He won't. Cam Talbot for 1 more year at 4.1. You give him another year.
You do?
Yeah, you don't.
But if you're Chiarelli and you lose another year, you're out. You're gone.
Yeah,
so
but is Pekka Rinne gonna save you when you already got Cam Talbot?
Talbot has played a lot of hockey over the last 2 years, and he's wicked value. He just had an off year.
What if you get him at 3.5?
Sorry?
What if you get Pekka Rinne at 3.5?
Then you're running with Talbot and Rinne.
You're running with Talbot and Rinne.
And you got Montoya signed to $1 million.
Who you can deal.
They re-signed him?
And Koskinen. Remember they just signed Koskinen too?
Oh,
and Montoya was signed on a 2-year deal, so he signed through next year.
What did he Koskinen?
2.5.
2.5?
Yeah.
They're not even convinced he's the best goalie in the KHL.
2, 1, 4. They already got $7.6 million wrapped up in goaltending. It's not going to work in Edmonton.
Damn.
Well, then Calgary.
Just Talbot and Rinne. Oh, there you go. Just Talbot and Rinne. You could justify if Rinne was half retained, but
they have 3 goalies signed next year.
See, they need what you need to target a team that needs a good regular season goalie. You need to like give me a guy who can just get me to the playoffs. There's GMs out there who just like get me to the damn playoffs so I can actually continue doing this.
All right, who's crazy enough?
Well, Dwane Casey comparison was perfect.
Oh my God, he's gonna win an award on his way out the door.
They're the exact same situation.
It sucks so bad about Dwane Casey. I'm so upset.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah, but like not right now. We're talking about Pekka Rinne.
Yeah, sure. That's a basketball thing we should definitely be talking about. But Rinne, what did you want to say?
Well, I was going to say who around the league needs to desperately make the playoffs? Carolina, Calgary, Florida. Although Florida's goaltending situation is weird. Luongo's still a good goalie if he can stay healthy.
No,
Reimer's still pretty good.
Yeah.
But who are those teams around the league that could really actually use a goalie for a year? Who could give up give up a pick?
I'm trying to think.
Do you
the
even
Coyotes are still spending barely anything?
If you can get Rinne at half his salary, which means you pay a higher price for him, do you hate him as a guy who plays 30 games for you?
$3.5 million.
That's basically
Reimer. That's basically Reimer.
Yeah, I don't hate that.
3.5 to be your 1A.
Like if we're going through,
but who's down for that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, let's see. Let's have a look at the standings from this past season.
enough.
Calgary, I think you nailed. But
I also think Carolina too. What about the New York Islanders?
Oh.
I mean, they're a team without a goaltender. Detroit, maybe, but I feel like the Islanders are closer to the playoffs, and they've got 2 first-rounders this year. Barzal, if they re-sign Tavares.
Buffalo.
That's another one.
Because they want to move on from Robin Lehner.
And they've got Rasmus Dahlin coming in.
Yep.
So, or Darlene.
Darlene.
Man, I those kinds of teams.
Buffalo's not bad because they have a goalie signed for next year. Robin Leonard's an RFA. He's only 26, but you bring in
The first overall pick. How does David Poile pull it off?
if you bring in Darlene and
You bring in Darlene and a good goalie?
Rinne, are you competitive now if you're
A
Buffalo?
918 goalie, maybe?
If you're Buffalo, you may have to flip a contract back.
Some
don't you?
days he's 947.
Yeah, some days.
Sorry.
Other days he's 782. Like,
Literally, it could be either way.
Yeah.
Adam, you were saying.
Well, no, I was gonna ask. I mean, if in Buffalo's case, they've got so much money wrapped up in bad players. They do. And then they've got, players that are worth it.
Rinne
Jack
for Matt
Eichel,
Molson.
Ryan O'Reilly, guys like that. But even Jack Eichel and Ryan O'Reilly together are $17.5 million a year.
Ristolainen,
5.4.
5.4.
But why do they? Here's what I don't get. Sabres already have bad defense. Why, when you have Rasmus Dahlin coming in, do you want to get rid of Rasmus Ristolainen?
this is very interesting because Ryan O'Reilly's name has been on the trade block for a long time. Dude, O'Reilly for Rinne? In some way, shape, or form? Like we
could call it the O'Reilly trade.
And
The trade is 1-for-1.
Imagine if Nashville gets more offensive firepower.
Their top three centers are Ryan O'Reilly, Ryan Johansson, and Kyle Turris.
And then they get Nick Bonino on the fourth line.
Oh, I forgot about that. Oh my God, that's so dumb.
But they'd have.
I don't know who's
I don't know what
re-signed,
Jack Johnson. Ryan Johnson. They're paying him 8, and then they have Turris, who's making 6.5.
6, yeah.
And then they've got
6 next year.
And then they'd have Ryan O'Reilly at 7.5, and then Bonino at 4.
Boy, yeah, that's a lot of money.
A lot of money.
All right, send Bonino over too. Or send one of them over in the deal. Let's get cooking, Adam. It's silly season. Let's go.
Because they got Tolvanen, right? And
Tolvanen. And then Ristolainen's involved in the deal too, and that frees up. They don't need Ryan Ellis anymore, and he goes to the Leafs. Let's cook. Let's go.
Now we're just making up shit.
Yeah. No. We're making up real
to
shit.
what? As opposed to we're just making up
just
shit
playing.
harder than we were a couple
We're
minutes
just
ago.
playing BGM mode out loud.
Yeah, that's fine.
I
That's
guess
what this podcast is called. Be it Armchair GM.
Armchair GM.
With Tom Paraschka.
With smart hockey men.
With smart insider man. And also trusted hockey man.
$7 million.
Someone tweeted me a picture of Dubas today, and they're like, he looks great for 45. I love that bit. People have really globbed on
They have.
Globbed.
Was there a better trade at the deadline than Stastny for a first?
Holy shit, no.
Nope.
Now,
Nope.
what I can't figure out, and I didn't look this up, I wanted to see if anybody remembered this on the show, is St. Louis's pick lottery protected?
Is it for next year?
Oh, sorry. It is.
Yes.
Okay.
Kevin
So-
Cheveldayoff said that on Tim and Sid this afternoon.
So
Hey.
they got Stastny.
You big timing us.
Hey, it's not my show.
Yes, it is. It's Jesse Blake with Tim and Sid.
They got Stastny for a lottery protected first. How did they do that?
10 goals, 17 assists, 27 points in 31 games. Now, is that including playoffs, or is that he didn't play 31 playoff game or regular season?
No, he didn't.
No, that's got it. Yeah,
It's gotta include
that's
playoffs.
Yeah.
God, like the Jets were an offensive juggernaut before. Like they're undeniable. Like people were making fun of me because I think it was after Game 5. I'm like, who's beating the Jets? And then the Preds beat the Jets. But how do you stop that? How the hell do you stop that? Like Scheifele, Ehlers was looking dangerous. Wheeler's always looking dangerous. Stastny is always sniffing. And then Laine drew a penalty, and I was like, oh, they have Laine. They're
40 goal scorer Laine.
They made me forget they had Laine. Kyle Connor looks amazing, and I was talking about him. Like, dude, they're 3 lines deep of murderers, and then their like 4th line is good too. And also they have like an extremely strong right side. They got Bufflin, Myers, Trouba. They can just throw at you. It's freaking ridiculous. And Hellebuck is playing out of his mind. Mm-hmm. This is what, like, man, Vegas has been fun. But like this miracles, I'm putting my foot down. It's coming to an end. The Jets are going to end them.
You know what?
Wow.
Yeah, the Jets are going to end them. There's no way.
I'm not convinced.
There's no way.
Jesse, are you convinced?
Yeah, I have Winnipeg and Tampa in the finals. 100%. I'm sticking with it.
Damn, good picks, buddy.
Winnipeg's too good.
Good picks.
Now, Tampa might be able to beat them. And holy, unbelievable crap, is that an amazing final if that actually happens.
Imagine it's
no offense
Washington,
to the Caps.
Vegas.
I mean, it might be. Dude, an expansion team is in the Final Four right now, and the Caps in a down year are as far as they've been in 2 decades. Yeah, like, I believe it.
It's the best outcome for a hockey fan. It's literally the worst outcome for television ratings.
What is
in
Vegas,
America?
Tampa?
Winnipeg and Tampa.
Yeah, it's not great.
Winnipeg and Tampa?
Vegas, Washington would be
Winnipeg
way better.
is like 0 on the scale in America.
Yeah, because they don't count Winnipeg viewers, right? No
Yeah.
one's watching, and then you get the Tampa market.
no casual viewers tuning in for Winnipeg, and
wonder what the
Tampa's just
ratings-
not exciting enough.
The CBC rating's got to be good, though.
Oh, huge.
The Canadian rating's
They're
got to be
great.
good.
Yeah, it's-
unbelievable.
Oh,
it's
you've
just-
seen them?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
they're
You
good.
don't want any Canadian teams in if you're the NHL, basically.
Yeah.
because your ratings are guaranteed in Canada.
Remember when it was Edmonton, Carolina?
I do.
And Calgary, Tampa.
Yep.
Barry Bettman's
Tampa's
cheering
a
for
top 10
Washington,
market, and they in overall in population, like Tampa St. Pete's, and their ratings are pretty high. They're up there with Pittsburgh, aren't they? But again, Pittsburgh's a small market too. They're not a huge city.
But they draw.
Yeah.
Of course they draw.
Yeah.
It's an intense following.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, if you had that same intensity in, say, I don't know, I don't want to take down any particular city, but a much bigger city, if the Rangers could have a foothold on New York sports the way the Penguins have a foothold on Pittsburgh sports, and the Rangers are huge, but the Yankees have that kind of foothold in New York.
Right.
We're not talking. You know what I mean?
What about the Steelers?
Steelers are huge, but the Steelers, you got to remember, the NFL is like 4 months.
Right. Okay.
You go from like September to January. That's
The
it.
NFL is a different animal.
Yeah.
Like they play one day a week, and that one day it's everything, and they'll get everything.
It's like their sports-
and then you forget about it.
Yeah. I feel
like-
religion next Sunday.
That's a good.
There's sports on the left and like WWE on the right. And somewhere in the middle is the NFL.
No, somewhere on top.
Somewhere on
And then
top.
Yeah.
It's a pyramid.
Everything goes. Yeah.
It's not a political spectrum, it's a
just
pyramid.
up here
Okay.
in the U.S. Yeah.
And Roger Goodell
Interesting.
is looking separate ways with his eyeballs.
Yeah.
And everything.
He's the Illuminati, man.
I'm looking at the Paul Stastny of all the trades, and it's the opposite Matt Duchene trade.
What is it?
It's a good trade that worked out, and the GM who acquired the best player didn't give up too much and everything. You know what I mean? Like Ottawa gave up that first round pick, and now it's so costly.
They also gave up the best player.
yeah.
I'm sorry, Kyle Turris all day over Matt
Really?
Duchene. All day. Absolutely. Look at the. You
I'm
don't
still
think
not
so?
sold.
You're
Still not sold.
Oh man,
I
really?
think, you know what it was? Because Turris came in so hot and Duchene came in so
But he was
shitty
so good
cold.
in the playoffs for them last year.
He was.
And he was a team guy. Like, they love him. They loved
Boy,
him.
it's rough. It's rough. I still think Duchene at his best is better than Turris. It's not a huge gap, though.
It wasn't worth trading, I don't think. Because they're going to have to trade Duchene now.
Still don't fully understand it.
They're going to have to trade Duchene. He's got a year left.
Yeah, the Jets made an extraordinary deal, and maybe we should take back some of the things we said about Chevy a few years ago.
Oh man, when he wouldn't make a trade. Well, I mean, in the context of the time, you know what's interesting is that Evander Kane trade gets better with age. You know, at the time it was kind of like, well, it's Tyler Myers and Evander Kane, and who really
funny,
knows?
Because we were ripping on Chevy for not doing. He doesn't make any trades, and then he makes the Evander Kane trade, and we're like, no, not that one. Like, he made like a huge splash, and we were like, no.
Tyler Myers, who was considered overpaid at the time, might still be considered overpaid, but has been an effective defenseman.
So some context there. His cap hit is not bad. But for back-to-back years, Buffalo had the highest paid defenseman in the league in terms of actual dollars, and it wasn't the same guy. Because they had those ridiculous front-loaded contracts still.
yeah.
The first year, I think, I might have it in reverse order, it was Christian Ehrhoff.
Right.
And his cap hit was like $4 million, but he was making 10.
Right.
He was making 10 actual $1 million. And then Myers, I think his cap hit is like 5 something, and he was making $12 million in money. 12, which is
12
probably
million
That's
money?
but that's just money they're paying. It's
Yeah.
not actual salary.
12
cap.
million
Right,
monies?
but a lot of people, that's part of what contributed to the perception of Myers as not really being worth it, is he was getting this crazy, he was getting the most money in the league, highest paid defenseman in the league. And he was like a second pairing guy. And I think, wasn't he rookie of the year? He had a wicked rookie season, and sometimes you have a really hard time living up to that.
Yep.
Now he's on the Jets, who have just a ridiculous committee and holy.
You know, and
hot
he's
shit. I don't
been
know how anyone beats him.
he's been an effective defenseman, and it's not to that's not to diminish Evander Kane. I think if that trade had ever been made, first off, I don't think Evander Kane would be in Winnipeg, but second, Myers would have suffered along with the rest of the Buffalo Sabres with just the way they've mismanaged the team.
Neither of those guys were saving the Sabres, and I mean Kane.
He was
It was
good.
like two guys were scoring for them, and it was Kane and Eichel,
Yeah.
and I think they took turns getting injured.
It's 2-0 Caps. Wow. Predictions are stupid, but are you guys picking the Jets to come out of the West?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And also, by the way, reminder, since it's 2-0 Caps, Tampa lost their first game against Boston and came back and won the next 4. My final is Winnipeg, Tampa. Sorry, Caps.
At this point.
At this point. And I'm saying that with Tampa losing game 1.
Okay.
Vegas, Washington.
Wow.
I bet big on Washington. I'm going to do it again. And I don't know what it is about Vegas. It's not, you know what? It's really tough with those two series. I want Tampa to win, and I want Washington to win. I want Vegas to win, and I want the Jets to win. Like, I want them all to win. So it's not, you know what I mean? Like, there's not a team in there like I hate them. I want Vegas to win because the storylines would be great. I want the Jets to win
genuine
because
underdog
yeah,
in every way, shape, and form.
absolutely. There'll be a movie made about this, and I feel like the movie will be better if it ends in the finals. That's my point.
They were sort of an underdog, or they could sort of be perceived as an underdog against the Sharks, but like we talk about, like they won the Sharks division.
Yeah.
Look at the Jets.
They're
Look at
so
who's
good.
looking at
I
them
know.
and going, behold David at Vegas's Goliath with Lucas Spiza. Like dude, the Jets are sick. They're so sick.
They are.
They're my cup favorite, easy.
Wouldn't
right
it be
now.
cool to see? I mean, and no offense to Tampa, who I genuinely love.
They're
I
great.
love that team and I love that city.
Are they your second favorite team?
They might be my second favorite team.
Are they your second favorite
I
team?
should have mentioned them.
I should have mentioned that.
I don't
fans
know.
are great. Have I told you about how
if
great the fans
Steve
are in
Dangle
Emily?
podcast Reddit page knows that Tampa is Adam's
We should throw that up there. Who do you think is Adam's favorite team? Yeah, second favorite
run a
team.
poll.
Second favorite team. But imagine the idea of the Washington Capitals in the finals, the first time since they lost to Detroit,
Yep.
and
Olaf Kolzig.
and Ovi going for the cup.
It'd be cool to see him get one.
Ovi going for the cup. Yeah. You know what? You know what would be great? It'd be great to see Ovi get a cup just to shut everybody the fuck up. It would just be great.
The one thing the Jets lack is there's a distinct lack of really old guy.
There is.
That's true.
There's no trusted hockey men on that team.
Who's the really old guy remaining in these playoffs? Like, Ovi's hair says it's him, but like in terms of actual age, it's not. Who's the old guy? There's no Ray Bork, really, is there?
I don't think so.
Yeah, there's no old guy to root for.
other than
There's
win it
not
for
even like a
Ovi.
Michael Handzus.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to...
Everyone in Vegas is pretty young, but who on the
Win it for Thomas Tatar.
Yeah.
Right now, you're winning it for Ovi.
Yeah, I think you're winning it for Ovi.
That's the guy. If you're gonna glob onto a player,
Okay, so here's my prediction to answer the question.
First ballot Hall of Famer
Yes.
hasn't come close to even sniffing the cup.
Tampa, Winnipeg, but for storylines, I want the opposite. I want Vegas, Washington, because what a story that
That is
would
the
be.
better...
It's a better story.
Yeah.
That's the better story. The better hockey is Winnipeg, Tampa.
100%. So that's my answer.
God. Like,
Brooks
just
Orpik?
picturing that.
37-year-old Brooks
No.
Orpik. Are we rooting for good old
Brooksy. That's what I'm saying, Brooksy. No, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
No,
That's
not
rude.
because I don't even think Washington Capitals fans like him. Like, I think they're mad at his cap hit.
All right.
Who?
I
Sorry,
know.
yes.
I got it.
You got it.
The guy who's never won anything. He's 38. He's on the Lightning. Chris Kunitz.
Oh, frig off.
This is what his sixth cup?
No.
Fifth cup, I think.
He's never. He needs another one.
He needs another one?
Yeah.
He's won more cups
right.
than like
You're
Maurice
right.
Richard.
It's so dumb.
insane.
No, okay, so he got one with the
Ducks.
Ducks, And
Back
3 with the Penguins, yeah.
And a gold medal.
And a gold medal. An Olympic gold medal.
He has one of the most impressive resumes in the history of hockey.
That's who should have been the Leafs general manager. That's a resume.
Chris Kunitz.
Yeah.
Undrafted Chris Kunitz.
That's a great story, man.
That is amazing.
Underdog.
Where does he go?
Let's win another one for Cooney.
Dude, he's going to go down as one of the most decorated undrafted players ever.
Yeah, him and Dino Ciccarelli, honestly.
And Martin St. Louis.
Yeah. Oh, St. Louis was undrafted. Oh, my
Former
God.
teammate? No, but they both played for the Lightning. Now he's got a requested trade to New York. That's what Chris Kunitz has to do.
I don't think so.
Right at the rest of his career.
I don't think so. Yeah. If that were the case, then he'd also have to go to Calgary too. And
for each team, you're right, and get put on waivers. For each team, who hoists the cup first, and who do they pass it to first? Because I was just thinking, whoever gets to announce it, it'd be so perfect. Alex Ovechkin finally gets his Stanley Cup, and he passes it to Nicklas Backstrom for a change. Get it? Because Backstrom's been setting him up his whole career.
I got you.
It's kind of good. It's hokey, but it's heartfelt. Someone would definitely use that on a broadcast.
If Ovechkin gets the cup, he should pass it to himself, man. Like, honestly.
Why not?
Tom Wilson should get a second.
I think it goes to Holtby. What's that?
Tom Wilson.
Oh, no.
He gets a second.
Oh,
That's the biggest
really
troll
funny.
move ever.
I think he should give it to Tom Wilson second.
Man, imagine Tom Wilson's name on the Stanley Cup.
It's not hard.
Do we burn the Stanley Cup at that point?
Dude, Claude Lemieux's name is on the Stanley Cup. Like,
Brad Marchand on the Stanley Cup.
there are rattier players on the Stanley Cup.
Okay, fine. We'll keep it. We won't burn it.
So then in Tampa, it's Stammer gets it first, and then he has to pass it to Kucherov.
Callahan.
Callie? Really?
Ryan Callahan.
Why? Is this Callie's last year? Or?
No, he's there. I think he's the closest thing they have to an old guy. Isn't he? Kucherov makes sense in terms of star power. Maybe. You might be right. Yeah, Stamkos to Kucherov. I mean,
maybe
that was the
Hedman?
theme of the season.
It's like the two heads
possibly.
of the, two big guys on the team, the two monsters.
I mean, isn't Hedman like, if they go and win, isn't he kind of already a dark horse for the Conn Smythe?
A little bit, yeah. But they're kind of the two cornerstones of the franchise. The Lightning got Stamkos first overall when they sucked, and then the next year they got the second overall pick because they sucked, and that was Hedman. And they were kind of the two cornerstones keeping the team alive.
Funny. I feel like Hedman is like 10 years younger than Stamkos. Why do I feel like that? It's just one.
1 year. Might even be less in terms of months. Yeah.
Wow.
I know. It's crazy. So, yeah, Hedman's a really good pick. With Vegas, it's got to be... Ooh, I got it.
Who gets the cup in Vegas?
Who gets the cup first? Derek Engeland, who's like the sort of captain of the team in a way. He's like the public captain, sort of.
He's from Vegas, right?
He's from Vegas.
Okay,
and he gives it
100%.
and he gives it to Fleury.
Yep.
That's good.
Yeah, it's not bad.
3-0 Washington, by the way.
Wow.
I got it.
Can't wait to see how Tampa wins. It's hard to hold on to a 3-0 lead, Washington. I've seen it crumble twice.
Engeland gets the cup.
Yep.
He takes off his skates. He walks off the ice, and he finds David Clarkson, and he gives him the Stanley Cup.
And he passes it to Mikhail Grabovski.
Yeah. Oh, actually, speaking of which, I got this crazy
They give it to JF Berube.
Clayton Stoner.
Well, Berube is not even on the team anymore.
No.
But he was claimed by them.
From Corey Masiak, who is who is a staff writer for
I'd say
The Athletic.
Masiak.
Is it Masiak?
I don't know.
Okay. He's a
I
staff
know
writer
him,
for The
though.
Athletic in New York City. Vegas is 23rd in cap space spent, but they spent $20 million of that on guys who played a combined 8 games for them.
Amazing.
Clarkson, 5.25, 0 games. Grabovski, 5, 0 games. Stoner, 0 games,
And these guys
$3.25 million.
count against the cap.
Yes.
That's unbelievable.
Garrison, 3.575, played 8 games. Brassard, not Derek. Brassard made $2 million, 0, and Yemelin, 0.
Oh, they retained number Sard. I forgot about
Yeah.
that. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Dude, okay, in terms of actual dollars spent, do they hit the floor?
Yeah, of course.
How much?
I don't know. I don't have cap friendly.
Like, sorry, dollars spent on players who are Golden Knights.
Well,
how much are the gold?
We'd have to
Well,
calculate.
take whatever the Golden Knights spent and subtract $20.2 million.
So they're...
it says, so Vegas spent $48.5 million on the actual team.
Dude, that's
on the
barely,
team that's on the ice. 48 million. That's crazy.
So to give you an idea of how
Holy
crazy that
crap.
is, the salary cap coming out of the lockout in 2005, 2006, I think it was either 45 or 48. No, I think it was. No, the ceiling I think was 45. The floor was 42.
Yes.
That's nuts.
they're gonna be a dynasty. They're gonna win the next 10 Stanley Cups. Everyone.
Imagine they don't trade for currently scratched Thomas Tatar.
Oh my god.
Like, what does that number look
They
like?
could be in an even better position.
They didn't have to fuck it up. They made a bad trade with Detroit.
Like
I'm not sure he makes the team
how,
next year.
Yeah, but like they spent Tatar's cap hit is too much, and they spent too many picks. And George McPhee is just standing in front of a pile of burning money and draft picks like the friggin' Joker in Dark Knight. Just so what? It's all part of the plan, and they're in the friggin' Final Four. George
like
McPhee is the Joker,
Eric Carlson's going to look great on that team next year.
and John Tavares and Pekka Rinne. And also they're gonna get like classic Adam Graves and Scott Mellenby. They're gonna get like cards like friggin' NHL 18. It's gonna be like hot. They're gonna get Mike Bossy
Gretzky card.
Yeah, Wayne Gretzky, Gary Roberts, pre-shoulder surgery, Joe Nieuwendyk from the Flames.
Rocket Richard.
Yep, and Charlie Conacher.
From the 40s Leafs?
Yes.
Okay, all right. All right. From
And
the kid
King
line.
Clancy. What
By the way,
position do you need him to play? All of them.
Why hasn't EASHL gone that far back?
Because psychos on EASHL just like to sabotage games and ruin my night.
I don't think that was answering Adam's question at all. I think you just wanted to get
why
that out
can't
there.
you get a Rocket Richard card or a Gordie Howe card?
Yeah, or a Howie Morenz card.
Yeah.
A George Vesna card.
I assume
right.
it's rights
Oh,
because
is
I
it?
know that in what am I thinking? MLB, I think, or it might be Madden. Unless you're in the Players Association at the time, they don't have your direct rights to put you in the video game because like the Players Association who sells all the rights for everybody for the video games.
It's pre-Players Association.
Yeah,
right?
they would have to be like, hey, can we use you directly? They have to go to Maurice Richard.
That's interesting because I remember having a game back in the day, and this is probably before any of this mattered, but I remember having a baseball game back in the day, and I actually had Cy Young on my team. Like you could have the legends be a part of it, and
Yeah.
Cy Young with sidearm
The
pitching.
the show has all the classic baseball
It's
players
good,
right
right?
now.
Like-
Yeah,
like Dennis
you could be
Eckersley and,
Babe
like,
Ruth and that
Babe
sort of
Ruth,
thing.
really?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
sick.
It's got to
Pretty
be doable though because you can get like classic hockey cards. And like
yeah.
they had to get some sort of permission.
I just assume EA Sports hasn't gone out and done it yet. I don't know.
They should.
We should talk to Rammer.
There's a bunch of things they should do. There's a bunch of. Oh my god.
Okay, so
I was talking to Adam, dude. Oh, sorry. Is that what you were about to say? Sorry, go ahead.
Steve complains about video game segments.
Jesse, I was having a rough day yesterday,
Yep.
as you guys both know, and Jesse came by, dropped me a coffee, gave me a hug, which was awesome. Steve called, and he said, well, as an adult 30-year-old man, here's what happened to me. And Steve, I'll let you take it away.
Well, yeah, he's explaining how he's having a hard day, and I'm like, okay, well, I don't know. I only know how to. The person I know how to beat up the best is me. So I'm like, I'm going to do that, and this will make Adam laugh. Someone sabotaged my EASHL game, and it ruined my night for a solid 2 hours. Like, I finished playing this game at about 7. SL was like, let's go to the mall. I'm like, fine, we'll go to a stupid mall. She needed t-shirts. Tried on some shoes.
Which mall?
Oshawa Town Center.
Oh, okay.
And tried on some shoes. She's like, oh, I like these. I'm like, stupid, the laces are too long. And I didn't even like it. And she's like, what can I do to improve your mood? And I'm like, ice cream. Like, I'm a 30-year-old man. Oh, wait, no, this was 2 days ago. So this is before I hurt my back even. So I couldn't even use that as like an excuse for why I was grumpy. And I was grumpy because a teammate of mine just intentionally put himself offside in the third period when we were down by 1 goal. And it was driving me nuts. And I let that ruin my night from about 7 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Why did the guy do that?
Because he's a fuckhead.
Did you talk to him over the mic?
No.
Oh.
No, why would I do that?
You gotta ask him. You can talk to him. Well, if he has a mic, his headphones.
I know why he was doing it. So most of our team left the game. Or I think they lagged out or something because like it's not like we were getting killed. We were down by 1, and it was literally I was
like
yellow,
granite, yeah.
I was right D, and he was red, the center. And I change my playing style when I have multiple CPUs, especially if the other defenseman leaves, because then I can rush a little bit. And it's great because you can be several steps ahead of the play because you create the play. So all of the puck behind the net, I'll pass to my defense partner and shoot up the ice. Then I'll call for the pass because I got momentum going up the ice. Yeah. He didn't like that I was, hogging the puck, trying to score goals for our team. Jesse, I am over an assist per game. Don't even give me that look.
We found it.
I did pass to him, though. I did. You know what? I did pass to him, and you know what he did with the thing? Nothing. Skated into 3 guys. Bum. He was upset at me, this probably 9-year-old, let's be honest, who ruined my night. And I don't know, that was kind of the point I was trying to get across to Adam, is I let a 9-year-old ruin my night.
I would just like to say that Adam
Don't
and
act like I'm not the best Chel player in this room.
Adam
Don't
and
act like it.
Oh. How many times did you beat me last time?
Okay, 5-on-5, you're probably the best.
I would just like to say.
One player, like be a pro, EASHL, you're both done.
I would just like to say.
Both of you. Same time, 2-on-1.
Played NHL with Steve.
Have you?
Where we've position locked before.
Well, explain how that situation went for you,
that
Jesse.
was threes. That was threes.
No, we've played 5-on-5 a couple times.
Oh, you're not talking about the most recent time?
No,
we all went to the Stanley Cup Finals together,
I was
remember?
drunk.
I remember that trip to the Stanley Cup Final. And Steve was our right defenseman as well.
That's right. Yeah, our weak side, really.
And so often, I would find our right defenseman behind our net in the offensive zone, playing the puck that he brought into the zone, that he thought he could get out of the zone, and just do whatever he wants with it.
Are these the things you think about when you look at your cup ring that we got together?
Jesse, I want to talk about...
When you look at the cup ring that we got?
I do remember that cup ring, and I do remember who scored the Game 6 overtime winning goal.
I think it was Game 7.
No, I think I scored in Game... No, because it wasn't Game 6. It was like Game 3, right? And then I scored the Game 2.
No, you scored a goal in an elimination game for us. And when you scored, you dropped your controller and ran. I ran after you, and Adam ran after me. It was great.
Second round,
it was the best video game goal
Second
I've
round,
ever
we
seen.
went to 7 games, and we won.
Well, it would have been because we were playing best of 3 series.
Oh, it was best of 3,
so I assume we lost the first game.
Yes.
And then we went to the second game, and then that's the overtime, and then we won the third one, which was for the cup.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It was crazy.
Anyways, all I know is I've played with you, Steve, and sometimes
Who gave you the pass?
You tend to hog the puck.
Who gave you that? I bet it was me.
You don't remember.
I bet it was me.
None of us.
Because it was on the rush.
Don't make that up. Don't make that up.
Just right up the middle. Just a pizza. Just amazing. Because that's what I do. Sauce.
You know what I
chef.
You know what I say to that? There's a first time for everything.
Wow. That take was so hot it cured my back. Unbelievable.
Steve's hubris in this is always so great because because Jesse, what I love about this is Steve position locks on right-handed D with the Leafs. We always play as the Leafs, and he's the right-handed D. Morgan Riley, Jake Gardner. No, I'm going to be right-handed. And I'm going to rush with it with whoever they have on the line. Hainsey, Polak, and
It is
Carrick.
a rough go. Yeah, and it's especially bad with the Leafs. Because I do it so that I could have the right-handed guy, and then we're the Leafs, and I get friggin' Carrick. I mean, not Carrick, Hainsey.
Yeah.
Who's left. Yeah, it is a rough go. It's a rough go with the Leafs.
No, but I love when Ron Hainsey's just deep in the offensive zone.
Yeah, for sure.
No,
You love your cup ring. You love your cup ring.
It just makes total sense. I
am
understand.
this team.
I understand why that guy was cheating.
Ron Brendamore is the new coach in Carolina, and first, it doesn't even matter what Rod Brendamore said. It matters what
It
matters what Tom Dundon has said recently, because he's going to be the disruptor.
Stop talking.
And he said, I've come to the conclusion that strategy is pretty overrated. I don't believe strategy makes the difference. I don't believe the strategy differences are as important as getting the right culture and the right attitude. I think he gives us the best chance of getting the most out of our guys, and that's Tom Dundon about Rod Brendamore.
He has gone around. The pendulum swung the other way. He's not such a forward thinker that he's disliked. He's so far back that even the old guard is like, no, that's far gone, buddy. We just need a culture. Brr. I don't remember who said it, but it's going to be great when Tom Dundon is credited for Scott Darling being a league average goaltender.
Yeah.
And Carolina being okay.
Well, I mean, what they don't need is a culture change. What they need is a goaltender.
Yeah, literally a goalie.
And I don't know why they want to trade Jeff Skinner. I'm not really sure why his name keeps coming up.
Going into the season, all of us sat here and we're like, Carolina might be good. Mm-hmm. They might be a 6 seed. They might make the playoffs.
And
the young guys pull it together. No.
A ton. They had like a bad stretch run.
Yeah.
Or no, didn't they go on a crazy stretch run?
They did.
Yeah, they went on a crazy
Well, like
stretch
you guys
run.
are saying, if they just got solid goaltending, it's probably fine.
Consistently throughout the season. And who were their goalies again? They went from publicly calling out Eddie Lack to the next season. They went out and got Scott Darling, who was bad. And then they're like, we're going with Cam Talbot.
Can I just quickly interject?
Ward.
Washington
Ward.
has 15 shots on goal. Tampa has 6.
What?
Washington is up 4-0.
Is Vasilevsky still in?
As far as I know.
Is Tampa icing 4 lines?
Yeah,
the
this
hell's
is Washington
going on
without Nick Backstrom, by the way.
Oh, well, I mean,
I heard
they
Tampa
shouldn't
was
be killing.
playing with Down a Man for fun. And it didn't
That's
work
what
out
it is.
tonight.
They're trying our strategy out for next year.
Yes.
2 goalies.
Yes, play from behind, and maybe you'll win.
That's right. Skate backwards all the way at the ice.
Again, like I feel like I've done this rant a few times, but so Scott Darling didn't work out in his first year anyway. He'll be fine. But the other guy was Cam Talbot, who had a 906 this year.
Talbot or Ward?
Sorry, I keep saying Talbot. I'm sorry. Cam Ward.
Okay.
He was a 906 year before in 61 games. How on God's green earth did Cam Ward play 61 games? 905.
Shout out Mississauga.
Raptors, 905. 909 the year before. 910 the year before that. Vezina. The year before that, he was a 937. Oh, that was in 2 AHL games. 30 games, 898. He was a 908 in 17 games before that. He was a 906 at the World Championship in 2012.
That's really relevant to this conversation.
Yeah,
No, wait. No, to the Hurricanes being bad.
Okay.
And
The World Championship, Steve.
I know. And dude, he was a 915 in 68 games in 2011-12. That was the last time he was within like shooting, like punching range of frigging league average. How is this guy still in the league, let alone making multiple millions of dollars? I don't get it. You shouldn't even be in the league. Get rid of him. Get a different goalie. Which one? Anyone. And pair him with Scott Darling and see if you make the
Have we
playoffs.
found Pekka Rinne's landing spot?
I hope so.
You can
Second
wait,
overall pick.
Does Cam Ward
Pekka
still
Rinne.
have term?
If Cam Ward
Oh,
still
he's
has
up.
turn, he should not.
He's up.
Oh.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, he's a UFA. Does Cam Ward find a job in the NHL next season?
yeah, backing up UC Soros.
There you go.
If I'm Carolina and I'm looking at a non-Pekka Rinne option, one of the teams I'm calling is the Leafs.
The league.
You got 2 RFAs in Sparks and Pickard.
not
You
bad.
can't keep them both.
Can I make a prediction there? I think it's still Anderson McElhinney
Do you
next
really?
year. Yep. They trade Sparks, re-sign
Pickard?
Pickard and Cascaswell.
But Pickard, can he be sent down?
This is the issue. So I think both of Sparks and Pickard required waivers. I don't know if Cascaswell does. It's a tough
I don't think.
situation.
I think that backup rolls up for grabs at camp. And I think they need a guy who can play more than Curtis McElhinney can.
Any one of those goalies goes on waivers, I think they get claimed.
I'm scared that one day Garrett Sparks is a top 15 goalie in the league. And Anderson is on his way out, and we needed a goalie, and we could have held on to him. Is that a worry I should have?
This is the thing I'm trying to get across to people with McElhinney, because I wrote that article talking about, the Leafs got some decisions to make, and they're like, McElhinney was amazing. What's the decision you need to make? Well, first of all, you'd be selling high. Second of all, he's going to be here for, how much hockey does he have left in him? He's 35. I know, granted, he's playing the best hockey of his entire freaking career, but he's 35. Even if you take a hit at the backup position and one of Sparks or Pickard aren't as good as McElhinney was last season, which, how the hell do you replicate that? What was he, a 934?
Yeah.
You're not going to replicate it. So they're going to take a hit at the backup position, but it's for the health of the future of the team.
Yeah, I can't see them. Listen, and with no disrespect to Curtis McElhinney, because we were the ones railing about how people were being too hard on him. But I think a guy like that, the reason they have him signed was it $700K? $850. That's a variable contract. That's one that they might be able to get away with during the roster jam right after training camp ends, in terms of sending him down.
And Sparks has a weird deal too, because it's a one-way next year. So if the Leafs let's say the Leafs did send him down, put him on waivers, doesn't get claimed, they're paying him $800,000 to be their AHL starter.
So what I would need to know before making that decision,
which by the way, sorry to interrupt, but they paid Pickard $1 million. So
what I would need to know is, because Pickard has been a pretty serviceable backup in the NHL before. What I would need to know is Garrett Sparks' game going to translate to the NHL when shots are faster, plays faster, everything's faster, everything tightens up. And Garrett Sparks, the knock on him is positioning. And so many of what the great saves in the NHL are just positional saves.
Yeah, I feel like this is so unfair, and it's going to sound dumb, but in the AHL...
That's okay. That can be the whole show. This is so unfair, and it sounds dumb.
The saves
or just drop the unfair part. This is dumb.
The saves you make in the... If you're going to be a good NHL goalie, the saves you make in the AHL should look easy. Whereas Sparks has like several impossible saves a game. Now, are you really going to hold that against them? Like a bunch of them are like stretching the hell out on like 2-on-1s, and I mean... It's a 2-on-1. How do you... It's difficult to cookie cutter a 2-on-1. You never know how it's going to come at you, but I've never felt like the Leafs are in love with this player. The organization, that is.
They sure wanted Antoine Bibeau to succeed.
They put him in every position to succeed, and he did not. He was like the AHL Pekka Rinne.
Yeah, he'd be hot and then cold.
Oh.
Ice cold.
Volcanic and Arctic.
I feel like with Calvin Pickard, he's a little bit more of a known quantity. You kind of know what you're getting. And he may have been brought up too soon, too, in Colorado, but that's nothing new in Colorado. And it was nothing new in Toronto a few years ago, too.
He wasn't brought up too soon. He was playing 55 games on a last-place team too soon. Sort of a similar fate to Sparks in a way, where you were basically sentenced to...
Playing on the Leafs when they were terrible.
You're playing NHL Reach instead of Halo Reach. You're on the Avalanche and Varlamov's out, and it's your job to be the starting goalie.
I wonder. I just wonder if I wonder how they're going to look at that. And I'd be, if I'm Dubas and Babcock and stuff, and they obviously would, but I'd be talking to the goaltending coaches and going, whose game is going to translate better? Because what I would want is for you to not be making spectacular saves at the AHL level. I want you to make them at the NHL level. And I worry about body position. They're all big boys, but who's got the best body position? Because in the NHL, that's what really, really seems to matter.
And this is where it comes back to Dubas, because I was about to suggest, well, maybe it comes down to exhibition games in the fall or in the late summer, I guess, where guys are competing for jobs and they're going to be, basically playing for the role of backup. But everything we know about Kyle Dubas is he's not going to make a decision based on 3 games apiece. Mm-hmm. He's going to be looking at the body of work. So I can't see the Leafs going into the summer with this question mark, like deep into the summer with this question mark. Jesse, can you look up I know you're looking at Sparks' numbers right now.
He's not as young as I thought. He'll be 25 when the season starts. I thought he'd be like,
and that's also
none of the Leafs spare goalies are.
Yeah.
Kasky-Swo, I think, is also 25, and Pickard's 26.
Okay.
Which is right around when you would want a goalie to at least be in the NHL.
Vasilevsky's 23. Matt Murray's 22.
Those are exceptions, though. Like those are exceptional
those are the
goaltenders.
rules and what it takes to win a Stanley Cup.
Yeah, let's just add Joseph Wool. Let's make him the starter next year, or also guy from the 23. WHL. Yeah.
Anyways,
can you look up all the UFA goalies for this upcoming summer? There are a lot, and you know what I noticed? Not a lot of good ones. There's a bunch of goalies that need a new contract who are RFA too. Mm-hmm. I was looking at McElhaney, and
do you want just UFA?
Let's do just UFA, and then we can look at RFA after.
Kari Lehtinen, Yaroslav Halak, Cam Ward, Jonathan Bernier.
Never heard of him.
Eddie Lack.
Bernier's the best one so far. Still
Chad
the best
Johnson, Andrew Hammond, Andrei Pavlik, Anton Khudobin, Michael Hutchison, Carter Hutton, Jeff Satgoff. I've never heard of Danny Taylor. And
Carter Hutton's going to get paid. Danny Taylor, I think, was like the third or fourth goalie for the Sens.
Yeah, Antti Niemi. And after that,
Boo.
Chris Gibson.
Dude, Antti Niemi is like the third best name you've said so far.
Yikes. Scott Wedgwood.
Wedgwood's, whatever. That's okay. You sign him
And Mr. Glass.
as your third guy.
Jeff Glass.
Anders Lindback. Dustin Tokarski. Remember when he was in Montreal and that was supposed to be a thing?
What a save by Tokarski. Oh!
Who are you doing?
Pierre McGuire at the World Juniors.
Did he?
Dude, look it up.
Did he go on the ice and smack Tokarski's butt?
He wanted to.
Okay.
He wanted to bad.
He wasn't like Tokarski was like big, but not Brad Marchand big.
No.
Okay. Just checking.
Not enough big boy hockey.
Not enough
there.
butt tap in there? Okay. No.
Carter Hutton's going to get a lot of money.
He's going to get a lot of money.
Who is?
Carter Hutton.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, with that 931.
Would you say
it was
4
out
million?
it was, what was it? I think it was out of all the UFA and RFA goalies there are, McElhaney had a higher save percentage this year. Or no, sorry. Out of all the UFA or RFA goalies, only 4 of them had a save percentage of 920 or higher. One was Connor Hellebuck, who's an RFA, LOL. One was Carter Hutton, who's going to get a ton of money. I forget the third.
Philip Grubauer.
Philip Grubauer is going to get paid by someone. I wonder if he gets traded. And the fourth was Andrew Hammond, who only played 1 game and doesn't count. McElhaney had a crazy season last year. So I wonder if you look at exploring inefficiencies. I mean, selling high. Mm-hmm. Selling high. I mean, I guess that's not really an inefficiency. It's just a smart thing to do. I wonder if Dubas does it.
Your stat is also wrong. There's UC Saros also had a 925, and he's going to be an RFA.
Oh, I must
and he
have
played
missed that
25 games.
Must have missed it. Shoot.
Just before somebody tweets you, we got it correct.
I'm surprised no one tweeted me when I wrote the thing. Or maybe that's not how I worded it. I don't know. Maybe. I also wrote this like last week, and I don't remember what I said.
But
trust me, it was great.
It's good. It's good to be where the Leafs are because at least you got 3 guys who could be your backup. Where a lot of teams don't have one, and there is not a lot on the market.
Yeah, they have good decisions to make.
Yeah. Shall we do the press conference?
Yes, we shall.
The Steve
Once
Dangle
I bring
press
up the
conference.
question. Oh, they changed Reddit? You are viewing the new Reddit. You can always, I'm going to visit old Reddit.
Thank you. Why change it?
I'm gonna explore new Reddit later. Might be interesting. Does nobody care about new Reddit?
Nope.
No. What I do care is your Tim and Sid post of Pekka, I don't feel so good.
That's my new favorite meme.
That was
Even though I haven't
amazing.
seen Infinity Ward, I spoiled it for myself, obviously, because I get the meme. But it's awesome. Yeah. Have you seen Infinity Ward?
No.
Have you, Adam? No. Maybe we have a date night.
Yeah, I think we should go. Because last night I was trying to catch up on all the Marvel movies I hadn't seen. So I saw the end of the
18?
Huh?
Aren't there 18?
There are, and I haven't seen the new Spider-Man. And I was sitting there watching, and I watched the end of like the Captain America versus Iron Man thing, and I was like, I'm sitting there going, this is honestly not good. Like, Can I just say that movie sucked? Wow.
Wait, which one?
The Captain America versus Iron Man thing.
Wasn't Thor Ragnarok not very good?
No, I heard Thor Ragnarok was really funny. Funny. Like apparently it's a very like they did an 80s theme with it. I loved Guardians of the first Guardians of the Galaxy was
I've
great.
heard that was good.
The second one was awful.
Was it?
It's so bad.
Aw,
it's so bad.
that's disappointing.
And it's like, and I love Iron Man. I loved the original Iron Man. I thought it was cool and whatever. But this whole Tony Stark with responsibilities, that sucks.
Are you a fan of the superhero movies? Like the Marvel Universe? and that
I
whole
was a
thing?
fan of Iron
I've
Man.
seen some good ones.
But the second Iron Man wasn't great either. Like, it's just, there are some that are good. I don't get the whole, and I haven't seen Black Panther yet either.
Oh,
And I've heard that was really good.
Very good.
Yes.
I think that it's hard to do 18 movies in 10 years and have them all be bangers. You know what I mean? Yes. And quite frankly, I think they have their fair share of bangers, so you kind of let them off with some of the ones that are not as great. But Thor 2, with the weird people on the skateboard flying things, and they had these,
not good.
with Natalie Portman, like... Like, Natalie Portman is above these movies. Wow. Can we just say that? Natalie Portman.
Her bank account says she is not.
Yeah. Well, I don't think she's involved in the universe anymore. I think they didn't even re-sign her. Like, I think.
Well, I think she moved on.
Yeah, she was
if
probably
I was Natalie Portman,
I can do anything, so I'll do something else. But yeah, it's weird. And then like Captain America in one of the movies has a girlfriend who is now on like a hospital show on like the channels here. She's like on a hospital drama, and she's like a part of that, and they make out for a bit, and then she's never in another movie again.
Dude, they straight up changed the Hulk.
What do you mean?
The actor?
Yeah.
Oh no,
well,
that's
not like
different
canon.
Series. Different series.
I guess.
The actor is you can.
I mean, the Spider-Man.
They changed a few
Spider-Man's been
guys.
3 times, right? But that's not a part of this particular story arc.
Don Cheadle was someone else. His
Yes, he
character
was. He was
someone else.
the guy from Empire.
I have no idea.
Who was the lead guy from Empire? Because that guy's very
I
hard to
forget
deal
his
with
name.
on set. And
I know he has an Oscar and everything, and I forget his name. Shoot, is there a
early
video
season.
I can watch that would be like, all right, here's everything you need to know heading into Infinity War, and go.
100%.
And I watch it, and it's 10 minutes long, and then I go enjoy the movie with my friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's what I want to do. I did that heading into the most recent Star Wars. Yeah, I've seen them, but like I forget, and especially like the episodes 4, 5, and 6.
Can I just?
But I watched a little refresher,
Most
and I was like,
TV
all right.
shows need that. Like Westworld needs that so badly, and they should provide it.
They should.
Like there should be an HBO YouTube channel where they're
should
like,
do it themselves.
here's
You're
your
right.
Westworld primer because season 1 was last year, and you mixed up the storylines in the final episode, so nobody knows what the hell's going on. But here's season 2.
Wait, they did that?
Yeah, so there's different. I'm spoiling Westworld for anybody who hasn't seen it, but there's different. Everything's taking place on a different timeline. So I think there's 3 different timelines that are currently.
Oh
going
God,
on in
that's
Westworld.
confusing.
It's awesome.
Is it good?
It's great.
Okay, I'll
yeah,
watch
but you
it.
need to do like your research on it, which is terrible, but it's so awesome once you get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah,
You
no.
don't have to do your research on it. You can watch it. It's still good.
I
but,
also thought
yeah.
the most recent Star Wars wasn't very good. I'll just come out and say it. I didn't like it. The Last Jedi. I was like, this is a
series-
tremendous letdown.
A series of okay movies.
That was okay. I thought Rogue One was good. I liked The Force Awakens. I was all about it. But man, Last Jedi, I was like, wow, that sucked the air out of the balloon there.
Suck the air out of the balloon.
The helium out of the balloon.
Is that a phrase?
I don't know.
I'm going to
making it
glove
up.
onto that phrase.
Hey,
You said something last episode, and everybody got mad at you.
I think you just got mad at him. I don't think it was him.
I'm sure they did.
there was a phrase that Adam used, and it wasn't actually a phrase. I don't know. I forget. What.
Apparently I used a word in a video
How do we
that wasn't a
quantify a phrase? Is saying something isn't a phrase? Is that just saying like you're not a trusted hockey man?
No,
Like
because the phrase actually has to make sense.
Well, trusted hockey men don't always make sense.
No, but you. That's the point.
That's all I'm saying.
You can't be like
when someone says that's the pod calling the kettle black. I don't own a black kettle or pod. I don't know what that is.
a little bit
No, but
outdated.
you can't make the. I'm gonna row that car. That's not a thing, you know.
I mean, yeah.
You can't just say something.
I mean, yeah.
You know what? Your take is hotter than a flamingo. Like that's not.
That's a hot flamingo.
That's not a thing. A hot flamingo isn't a thing.
And that's where the term hot pink comes from.
Hey, instead of the press conference,
I was gonna ask the first question.
and forget it.
That was
No,
like
no, let
6
me
minutes
ask
ago.
one question.
Okay, one question.
This is from LaxTY23. It got 17 upvotes.
Whoa.
Laxity.
It's not really a question. It's a question, but there's no response. The question is, how many licks does it take Brad Marchand to get to the center of attention?
Well, the answer is 2. Maybe that's ruining the joke.
And then somebody responded and they wrote, and how many licks does it take for Adam to not welcome him to the show?
Not welcome him to the Brad Marchand?
Yeah.
Because I've already not done it. Or done it.
You're not telling me that you wouldn't have Brad Marchand on.
Sure I would.
Of course you would.
But
But like a couple weeks ago, you were so salty about him that
Yeah.
you were like, "No, he'll never be on the
You
show."
my
could've
first
been.
question wouldn't even be a question. I'd be like, okay, you know how you just said I got to cut that shit out? Yeah. I don't believe you.
I think that's a fair point.
Yeah.
I think it's a fair question.
I don't believe you. Were you or were you not spoken to the first time? I wasn't spoken to. So you're calling Elliot Freeman a liar. Yeah. Like what?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
I don't think you'd be that blunt with him.
So are you saying none of the Bruins spoke to you? Zdeno Chara and all his leadership when he pulled you over, when he was talking to you on the bench against the Lightning, he had none of that to say against the Leafs.
Adam, I don't think Steve's upset. Nor has he ever been upset.
I'm not. I've never been upset.
You are coming across as bothered, and you're playing into his game.
I'm unbothered.
I wanted to quickly touch on Dwane Casey, who
Oh my God, what the
the Raptors head coach,
How?
who wins almost 60 games and turned the franchise around with Masai Ujiri and Tim Leiweke and all those guys.
You know how
And
no one in
his
the
team-
States liked the Raptors? They look like shit today.
Yeah,
They look like the dumbest team in basketball today, and they just had the best season in franchise history,
yeah.
which it completely taints it. Like, this season, forever in the record books. Like, please, for the love of God, what was the record? 59 games? Please win 60 games, because it's tainted forever. The season sucks. Sorry, I cut you off.
Well, I think you're right, and it sucks that a coach who, quite frankly, had his star players sort of quit on him.
Or just play like shit.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm sorry, I know DeMar and Kyle are better than that. I know they are, and yet every time,
Valanciunas wasn't very
every
good.
time in the playoffs, this is what happens.
Well, and not just that, like we've talked about this regarding hockey so many times, how often a great team, or at least a good team, ruins the freaking franchise because of the result of one playoff series. Now I know.
Now this is 3 playoff series. Now they've lost 10 straight games against the Cavaliers in the playoffs.
How many were they the favorite this year?
Yeah, this
That's
year.
it. And even then, it was like kind of 50-50 among most fans. And game 1 could have gone either way. Granted, it didn't. Game 3 could have gone either way. Granted, it didn't. So really, you got your ass kicked in 2 games.
If
So
this
you're
goes
gonna
to
let 2
6,
games ruin the franchise.
if this goes to 6, I think Casey's still got his job.
That's the dumbest thing ever. What if they lost better? What kind of a joke team is this? Oh, the friggin' Raps. Well, they had a good run. They were fun for a while.
What's the other option?
I just bought a Raptor sweater too. Damn it.
I think the other
Well,
option
when
is you hang on to him and you figure out what the hell to do with Ibaka. Like
You make a few trades. I
mean,
think.
Ibaka's making
Jesse,
a lot
you're
of
not
money.
going to get in-depth basketball analysis from me.
Okay.
But I think they got to change personnel a little bit.
Yes.
They're going to do that anyway. There's, I mean, what is the Wiggins for DeRozan thing
That's
that was
not
floated?
happening.
That'll never
It's not
happen. But
No.
It's the Spider-Man meme of, hey, there's that guy. it's you. You're looking at yourself. Except worse, because Wiggins isn't the player that DeRozan is.
Will he be?
No, I don't know. I don't think so.
Pretty young.
I don't think so. Andrew Wiggins would be amazing in 2005. He's like Vince Carter light, but the game of basketball now is you got to be able to have a jump shot, even though Ben Simmons proves that doesn't have a jump shot at all, and he's still successful. But he doesn't succeed in this game because he doesn't play defense and he doesn't play outside of the key. So he's just a high-flying 2005 guy, and it's not that anymore.
Also, is this another case of it's not confusing that the Raptors lost? Because, in my very novice view, they don't have star power that matches LeBron. Their starting guys don't match a lot of teams' starting guys.
Mm-hmm.
What makes them kill it and what gave them the best season in team history was their bench. But their bench, isn't it led by Fred VanVleet?
Yes.
And he was out a few games and injured.
because he popped his shoulder out.
Yeah, so they're the leader of the thing that makes them the Raptors was hurt and out.
But
no,
that's going to happen.
He played all the Cleveland series.
Yeah, but he wasn't good because he was hurt.
No, that's not the reason.
Hurdle-
The team wasn't good.
Yeah, the team.
No, the team wasn't good, but I feel like
teams-
doesn't that make them crumble?
No, but the team's not set up for playoff success.
Yeah,
and
okay.
there's something in there about coaching, and there's something in there with the personnel, and there's overall the best player won, and he beat them. And I want to bring up this stat. DeMar DeRozan's worst plus-minus games happened in Game 2 versus Cleveland, Game 3 versus Cleveland, and Game 4 versus Cleveland. Damn. His plus-minus was minus 29, minus 23, minus 22 in his 3 last games of the year.
He's the guy that has the most value on the roster. Do you trade him?
DeMar? I don't think you can.
I think you just
No.
committed to him by firing the coach.
Yeah.
And I
seems crazy
Of
to
all
me.
the guys, I think DeMar's the guy who's worth committing to. He stayed here. He wanted to be here. I don't think that sends the right message if the guy who finally stayed, the superstar who finally stayed,
gets traded. Well, someone else has got to go then.
There's also nothing you can get back for him that's going to be better than DeMar.
Yeah,
Man.
exactly. So
Man.
to me, you tough it out. You just tough it out. Like what else can you do?
I also feel like it started, like the Raptors in Toronto, the city started to become kind of a cool destination for free agents. And like that died. Like that died overnight. That's
LeBron killed it in 4 games.
They have no money also.
And what coach wants to come here now?
Yeah. I think it's a bad decision to fire Casey, but I understand why he did it. I just think I think you stick it out with him.
Yeah, I do too.
I can understand almost any decision when it gets made.
Yeah.
I just disagree with it
Yeah,
strongly.
and when you said like the optics of it, it's just
it's not good. And he's going to get
he might win coach of the year.
And they're going to look like total dicks.
Yeah.
Same thing happened to Sam Mitchell too. Didn't he get it? And then the next year they fired him.
You know,
At
but
least
he
it was
played
the next year.
Yeah, the next year, and the team wasn't good enough. And
Yeah.
Dwane Casey's a better coach than Sam Mitchell, and
For sure.
it's not a good move. I don't like it.
Well, it sucks because
Should've
I
kept my
love doing
receipt for the
Casey.
sweater.
But yeah. Hey, anyway, we'll wrap it up for now. Thanks so much for listening. We'll be back, I think, Tuesday next week? Who knows? We'll figure it out.
Maybe I'll sit.
Yeah. Steve, hope you're back.
Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Brought to you by Panago Pizza. Order at panago.com and stuff your face with deliciousness.